TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel votes in favor of a UN draft resolution calling for the immediate, complete, and unconditional withdrawal of Russian forces from Ukrainian territory. Moscow warns Jerusalem that its alleged strikes on Syria are fraught with dangerous consequences for the entire region. Jerusalem's top defense official pledges to hunt down anyone who chooses the path of terror against the state of Israel. Jerusalem stands by Ukraine as it unyieldingly battles in defense of its national sovereignty and its citizens. Joining with 141 other nations from around the world, Israel voted in favor of United Nations General Assembly draft resolution entitled Principles of the Charter of the United Nations underlining a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace in Ukraine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 141. Against, 7. Abstentions, 32. Draft resolution A/ES11/L7 is adopted.
In accordance with the adopted resolution, the General Assembly underscored the need to reach, as soon as possible, a just and lasting peace in Ukraine in line with the principles of the Charter of the World Body, all the while urging the international community to ratchet up diplomatic efforts toward a long overdue end to this conflict. Moreover, the adopted resolution also reaffirmed the international community's commitment to the sovereignty, independence, unity, and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders, and called for the immediate, complete, and unconditional withdrawal of Russian forces from Ukrainian territory. Naturally, Russia voted against the resolution and was joined by Belarus, the Republic of Congo, Eritrea, Mali, Nicaragua, and Syria in its opposition. And while a day prior to the vote, China's top diplomat and state counselor, Wang Yi, was hosted by his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in the Russian capital and pledged a deeper partnership between Beijing and Moscow, China ultimately abstained, along with Iran, Armenia, Ethiopia, India, South Africa, Pakistan, and Algeria. It is worth noting that last week, Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen traveled to Kiev, during which he expressed Jerusalem's unrelenting support to Ukraine. While holding his meetings with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and subsequently with his counterpart Dmitry Kuleba, they were repeatedly forced to rush to bomb shelters amid Russia's bombardments of the Ukrainian capital. Subsequently, in a joint press conference with the Ukrainian foreign minister, Jerusalem's top diplomat highlighted Israel's support for Ukraine and pledged to transfer Israeli technologies that would grant Ukrainians early warning systems in the event of Russian bombardments.
I'm proud to stand with Ukraine in the face of these challenging times, and Israel is committed to continuing our support in the months and year ahead. We are going to support and help approve a guarantee up to $200 million for Israeli projects in healthcare and civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. I was happy to update that we will assist with developing a smart early warning system to Ukraine.
Kiev's top diplomat for his part highlighted that the meeting signified a thick foundation to relations between Ukraine and Israel, which he voiced hope would be followed up upon.
Елі приїхав до Києва навіть швидше, ніж обіцяв мені по телефону. Я думаю, що сьогодні ми закладаємо дуже серйозний фундамент. Але чи буде побудована на цьому фундаменті повноцінна будівля, залежатиме, безумовно, від подальших рішень, які будуть ухвалюватися або не будуть ухвалюватися.
Minister Kuleba further stressed that he couldn't see no reason why Ukraine and Israel could not stand shoulder to shoulder in perpetuity.
Немає жодної об'єктивної причини, чому сьогодні Ізраїль і Україна не повинні стояти пліч-опліч один з одним. Сьогодні, завтра і завжди.
It is important to know that since the start of the Russian war with Ukraine exactly 1 year ago today, Kiev had urged Jerusalem to grant it its aerial defense systems. Israel refused due to its own national security interests, considering the fact that Russia has deployed its highly sophisticated electronic systems as well as its most advanced S-400 surface-to-air missile system in Syria's Latakia airbase, from which it technically could intercept any aircraft above Syrian territory, including much of its neighboring skies. And while Russia and Israel established a deconfliction coordination mechanism to avoid unwanted friction between their respective militaries in Syria, as Jerusalem remains unwavered about its operational activity to thwart Iran's entrenchment along its northern frontier, Moscow has repeatedly warned Israel that any military assistance to Kiev would have far-reaching consequences. These warnings have seemingly become more public since Jerusalem sustained significant pressure from the direction of Washington to come out in support of Ukraine, which became a more substantive reality under the leadership of the transitional government of the incumbent Israeli opposition leader Yair Lapid. The defense minister at the time, Lieutenant General in Reserve Benny Gantz, announced in an address to diplomats of EU member states residing in Israel that Israel's defense establishment would consider granting Ukraine a highly sophisticated early warning system, which the IDF Home Front Command utilizes to alert Israeli citizens in the face of sporadic rocket fire emanating from the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip. However, since that announcement, Russia had increasingly deepened its relations with the Islamic Republic of Iran, and in the face of alleged Israeli strikes on Iranian weapons shipments to Syria, it has increasingly also become openly vocal about the threat of a regional conflagration. The last such statement was made earlier this week when the Russian Foreign Ministry condemned Israel's alleged strikes on the territory of Damascus in Syria. Moscow's Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova stated, quote, "We strongly condemn the military actions taken by Israel, which are a gross violation of international law. We strongly urge the Israeli side to stop armed provocations against the Syrian Arab Republic and refrain from steps that are fraught with dangerous consequences for the entire region." Meanwhile, a senior Israeli security official told TV7 that Israel will continue to support Ukraine with substantive humanitarian assistance, all the while taking its own national security interests into account. Nevertheless, the official also stressed that Jerusalem is deeply dismayed by the evident rapprochement between Russia and the Islamic Republic of Iran at a time when the latter continues to openly and proactively seek Israel's destruction. Regardless, however, Jerusalem's red lines will continue to be vigilantly observed, and Israel is preparing for any possible escalation. Among others, during yesterday's special cabinet meeting in Jerusalem, in which the Israeli state budget was adopted, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that a substantive multi-year plan was adopted for the defense establishment and IDF in the framework of the state budget that prepares Israel ahead for its security-related challenges.
יש פה בשורות ענקיות. בראש ובראשונה אנחנו מבטיחים את המשך ההתעצמות וההצטיידות שלנו מול איראן ואויבים אחרים לאורך השנים הקרובות. זה דבר בעל חשיבות לאומית עליונה. שנית, התוכנית נותנת שינוי בתוואי השירות ובתגמול השירות. היא נותנת מצד אחד תגמול כלכלי ראוי לחיילים ולקצינים, ומצד שני מקצרת השירות כדי לקצר את זמן הכניסה לשוק העבודה. זה שינוי עצום לביטחון ישראל ולכלכלת ישראל.
Turning to the Palestinian city of Nablus, where Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant held a tour and attended an extended security assessment in an adjacent base, following the latest counter-terror operation, which included the successful elimination of a number of operatives belonging to the Iranian proxy Palestinian Islamic Jihad.
הגעתי לכאן היום, לשכם, כדי להביע הערכה גדולה ללוחמים מהימ"מ, מסיירת גולני, מיחידות נוספות, שביצעו את פעולה איכותית בלתי רגילה בלב הקסבה של שכם, ופגעו באופן מדויק במחבלים, ביניהם רוצחים ואחרים שהתכוונו להוציא פעולות טרור. התהליך הזה התבצע במשך שעות, תחת לחץ, ירי של מבוקשים ואחרים. הרבה הערכה ללוחמים, למפקדים, למפקד החטיבה ולכל מי שפעל בעניין הזה.
Jerusalem's top defense official, a major general in reserve who formerly served as commander of the IDF's Southern Command as well as the IDF's Naval Commando Unit, Shayetet 13, highlighted further that Israel's defense establishment will continue to hunt down anyone who chooses the path of terror against the state of Israel.
אנחנו נמשיך באופן הזה בכל מקום שבו יש איום טרור. נקה את הטרור בכל מקום עד אשר נדביר אותו. כך פעלנו לפני כשבוע במרחב יריחו, כך פעלנו בג'נין לפני שבועיים-שלושה. לא יהיה לטרוריסטים מקום. טרוריסט יוכה ויפגע. האוכלוסייה האזרחית תזכה לכל הקלה, לתנאי עבודה וליחס הולם, כל עוד לא ישתפו פעולה עם הטרור.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. We would like to encourage you, pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters worldwide, as well as for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you again on Monday at the same time.